So welcome back everyone to another incredible episode of Chatutan here for today on the show. Yeah. We're having an incredible super badass Wednesday because we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, and we all know a superhero by this point. Come on, Katie. Katie, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I mean, what better way to have an incredible super badass Wednesday than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean? It's like Christmas already and we are in May. How cool is that?
You say that now, but we haven't really gotten into it yet.
Let's find out. So I want to thank those who are also joining in. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also in the description below, you're going to find all of Katie's social media. Let's follow her. I mean,
At Katie Uhlmann.
There you go. By this point, you should know why she's super badass. In case you're not, I mean, she's epic. So, this is going to be great. Without further more, let's jump in. So for today, I have an incredible set of questions, an incredible setup of activities here. So let's dig in here. So I want to start this whole incredible conversation by throwing out the very first question, which is, how would you personally define fear in the creative process?
The creative process is definitely scary. And the thing that I have the most fear around is being authentic and being truthful with what I'm saying. So whether it's writing or directing or doing stand-up comedy, just like making sure I'm being honest about whatever I'm talking about. And definitely stand-up has helped a lot with that, because if you are being fake or not being yourself in a way, the audience, you kind of lose the audience. They sniff it. And you feel it just immediately. Whereas with film, it takes longer. But I guess that's my biggest fear, that I make something that doesn't feel like it's connected.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. And how do you get into that process when you start to being like the real you, let's say? You know what I mean? Like you actually step on into this path in which you're like, okay, so from now on, this is gonna be like the real me, let's say. Because I mean, I've heard that sometimes whenever they are like entering into this creative journey process, at first they might not show who they really are. You know what I mean? But more need to try to kind of protect themselves to kind of take the first steps and to see how the water is somehow.
Hmm. Okay, so definitely when I was younger, like I feel as though I did more that, just creating things. Because if you're, before you've lived a lot of life and had a lot of heartbreak, maybe you don't even really know your perspective on the life, on life, or how your point of view isn't fully developed. And nor is it now. I think that's the beautiful thing about being an artist. The older you get, the more life experience you have, the more honest the work can be and more interesting. Whether you're an actor or a director or a writer, I think we all just get better and better in that way. But it's I try to connect to I try to connect to whatever it is. So, for example, the show that I just co-wrote and created and directed, Cows Come Home, is about a woman discovering herself through competitive cow showing. So I partnered with Lindsay Middleton on this, and I have never been a competitive cow show person. When we started working on it, like, it has to be a story that I can connect to and that I feel is authentic. So what I can connect to having a friend that can help you through a really difficult time. I can connect to hitting rock bottom and rediscovering yourself through a dream, and whether that dream is making a film or getting back in the ring and doing competitive cow showing. I think a dream is a dream, and looking and crafting a world where it doesn't have to be exactly my experience, but looking at each character in every scene or situation and making sure it reflects something I've experienced or have known to be true in the world. And that's really the process. So, and it's as granular as sort of scene by scene as well, looking at every moment and and making that feel true to life.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
It's interesting though. I mean, there's obviously also I do comedy, so there's so many different types of comedy, and some's more absurd, and some is very dry and grounded. But whatever it is, I try to have that tethered in the real world somewhere.
Mm. Okay.
hmm
Mm. I like it. And I got a quick question came to my mind. What is your taste in comedy?
I like dry comedy. But
Okay.
I say that so when I'm like directing and performing comedy, it's very dry. But I also do love broader comedy. I mean, I grew up on Jim Carrey and Robin Williams and like those types of films and performances I find incredible. And that's a goal for me at some point to do a broad comedy. But I think you need a very specific type of performer for that to kind of build the world around. Not sure I've found that person yet. But certainly for me, I love a more drier, grounded comedy. Like one of my favorite ever comedies is Home Alone.
Mhm.
And not that there's not like levels of absurdism. There are, like it gets really crazy and but it's played relatively straight, and that's kind of where I aim to live. And also has a heart to it in terms of the family and the values that are still there. And there's a lot of like sweetness in it. So I don't know. That's kind of what I want to do. And am doing, I guess, with Cows Come Home and different projects is heartwarming comedy.
So badass, basically. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
I love it. I'm getting these vibes already, knowing that you're already super badass. Like, I know it.
Just
Epic.
wait.
And tell me, can you remember like a moment when doubt almost convinced you to quit?
Yeah. So for me, as soon as a creative relationship doesn't align very well, I will start to doubt a project. And it basically, if my heart's not in it, I don't really want to do it. And that's obviously like tricky. Creative relationships take a lot of work, and it's always, I think, with any relationship, all about communication and aligned values and aligned goals. It's just so important. And yeah, I've experienced kind of like something running its course and then having doubt in the project because of that relationship. So if
Mhm.
I'm creating something with someone, it's like that foundation has to be really strong. The thing that will give me a doubt about a project early on is if that relationship doesn't feel aligned or like steady. And that's something that I've learned over time about myself and just making sure that when you're embarking on a long journey with someone to just have a lot of those conversations up front.
In your opinion, does fear even serve like a positive role for an artist?
Yes, I think it does. I mean, fear in general, I think, or nervousness just means that you're alive and can if you can kind of channel it, it can really work for you. And I also think that looking back on my career, the moments where I was most heartbroken or going through my darkest moments and had the most fear, those were the moments where I really focused and had the most drive and threw myself into filmmaking, into writing, into getting the work done. Sometimes when the worst things happen, it lights a little bit of a fire under you. It does for me. And almost in a survival way, like the work or the stories or, you know, the collaborative element of making something, it's a good distraction. It's a good way to like funnel going through a hard time. I think when we're at our most scared or our most vulnerable, we're our most open and sometimes do the most interesting work. So I think absolutely. I think that any fear or something that goes badly personally can absolutely help you in your work.
Mm. Do you agree with this idea that the thing that scares you the most is the thing that you really have to do it?
I don't know. I'm scared of snakes
Mm.
and I don't think I'll ever work with snake. I shouldn't say that. Like, I don't want to hold a snake. But yeah, I mean, in some ways, like absolutely, I felt that way about stand-up comedy. Like it was like really scary, but something I always wanted to do. And I write a lot of comedy. So I said, Katie, like I said to myself, Katie, if you want to be a comedy writer, you have to be able to tell a few jokes. and then just like went out and did comedy for years to like overcome it. And it's interesting, something like that. Yeah, I think you should just do it. Like when people say to me all the time, "Oh, I can't believe you do stand up. That's so scary." I'm like, "You should do it. It's go do an open mic for 3 minutes or 5 minutes and like and then eat shit. It'll be terrible and or maybe not. And then it's gonna be okay. Once you get over that fear, like you become more confident in other areas because other things don't feel that scary that maybe used to be.
Mm.
So I guess it depends on the fear. All that to be said. Cool.
Now, tell me, what's the biggest internal fear you have to overcome in your career?
For me, starting out, because I wasn't a child actor, like I didn't have family in the business or anything, I felt some imposter syndrome for the longest time. And I remember when I booked my first big recurring role on a TV series, really feeling um out of like completely out of my comfort zone and like I didn't belong and was super nervous. And I remember my acting coach at the time, Jeff Seymour, said to me, Katie, just focus on the work. Just focus on your scene partner. He was like, if it whether you're in an acting class with 20 people or on set with 200 people, the work is the same. Just, know your shit, focus on your scene partner and just and do the work. And that's been something that's really stuck with me. Like I still get really nervous now. I'm more focused on directing, but I'll get the jitters, of course, the first day on set, but I always come back to what Jeff said and just work with your department heads, protect the actors, work with your actors, look at the scenes, like, you come in so prepped, but then be present and just focus on the work. And that's the thing that's kind of helped me the most.
Okay, okay. And do you
Mhm.
think self-doubt gets louder as you become, let's say, successful, like more successful somehow?
Yes, because every job, there's a fear that it's going to be the last job. So there's that self-doubt of if, will people resonate with this project? Will I get more opportunities out of this? What I have to say, is it adding anything to the zeitgeist? Is it adding anything? Is this a fresh perspective? There's those kind of doubts. But then I'll also say, with age and experience does come a little bit more confidence in that once you do something over again and over again, every time you practice or do it, you get more of a calm or kind of I got this. You develop more confidence. And I think that comes with most things, just the more you do it. So there's definitely it's kind of twofold, You become more confident, but then also more concerned because also you've put more time and effort in, and you're like, I hope hope it works out.
Totally. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What do you think the 10-year-old version of yourself would think about you right now?
I mean, I think the 10-year-old Katie would think that 37-year-old Katie was pretty cool. I grew up in a small town and I had a great childhood. Like I'm very lucky. I came from like my parents were just amazing. But I never knew that you could like professionally have a career in movies or TV. And that's something I really discovered in high school and university and then pursued after. And yeah, I think little Katie, I also took figure skating lessons when I was little. And just recently I got to direct Elvis Stoiko, who was the world figure skating champion when I was a little girl. And like there's little moments like that where I'm like, oh, little Katie would think this was pretty cool.
I
Yeah, it's
like
good.
it.
Yeah, it's funny you ask that because whenever I have moments of being down on myself, my mom will often say that, like, think of if, 20-year-old Katie met Katie now, how you think that, oh, this girl's done all this stuff and whatever. She likes to remind me of that, which I think it's a good thing to think about when you maybe feel like you haven't come as far as you'd like, but you have.
Yeah, yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's important, yeah, to have like this kind of communication with our inner child sometimes, right? So,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, life is always or can be kind of non-linear as well. And so we sometimes lose track of how far we've come. But when you think about the childhood you and what they might think of you today, it's a good way to put it in perspective.
there you go. You became super badass, so you know what I mean? I like it. Okay. Now, how do you personally differentiate between healthy caution and paralyzing fear?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I am pretty cautious in that, like, I'm cautious in terms of who I work with. And I'm cautious in terms of what projects are going to take my time because I know it takes 3 to 5 years to get a project off the ground. So I'm just very cautious about what I choose and really intentional about that. And then I'd say with paralyzing fear that when I get really scared or really nervous, it's when I'm super out of my comfort zone, but that's usually where I grow. So a few years ago in 2023, I did a director's shadow in New York at the Law and Order Studios. And that was a new experience for me. I'd never been on a huge American set before. And I remember being quite excited, but fearful. Um, but then just like went full steam ahead and learned so much and grew so much and absolutely loved it. So leaning into it. But then again, I do also think with fear, sometimes do have to trust your instinct. Certainly if you're walking down a dark alley at night and you feel like something might be off, it's probably off.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's situations in which you should listen to your to that little voice telling you don't do it. You know,
Yep.
it's sure. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
about self-preservating and stay alive basically.
Yeah. Stay alive if you can.
Totally. Okay. Okay, more badass, you know. I'm getting the vibe here. I love it as always. And has fear ever pushed you to create some of your best work?
Yeah. Fear. I feel like we touched on this a little bit, but after my worst breakups, and I've been my most scared to be alone, what my life was going to be, that's when I've been my most motivated and have done my most interesting work. So I think fear can play a great role in creativity.
Okay. And
Mhm.
how much does comparison to others fuel fear or doubt in your experience?
It's hard, especially in today's world of social media where we're constantly seeing into people's lives. It's so easy to compare yourself. And when I was in my 20s, I feel like I compared myself a lot more and was more jealous, and more competitive. And then the older you get, it's the thing is when you're jealous or competitive, it only really hurts you. And the older you get, you also just put things in perspective of like you may as well just support and be happy for other people around you. And then at times just get off Instagram and also protect your mental health. That's something that this year I've been a lot better at is just monitoring my screen time and scaling it way back, keeping your focus on your keeping your eyes on your own in your own lane. That's the saying, I think. But yeah, just like keep your eyes on your own yoga mat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't, and as other people succeed around you, be gracious. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously at times things annoy you and you're like, oh, why couldn't it be me? Or whatever. But then you got to kind of be real with yourself and like, well, you control what you can control. And then, hopefully then you'll achieve what you want to achieve and try to stay positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not always the
absolutely.
easiest, but we try.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the wormhole of social media, it just takes one reel or something for you to get you hooked, and then once you realize it's been a couple of hours and you're still watching. So, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And tell me, if you could give advice to a younger version of yourself battling fear, what would it be?
If I could give advice to a younger version of myself who's battling fear, I would tell her to really connect to your values, to focus on the work, and to surround yourself with good people.
Run out there with the mic because you're killing it here. So okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. And for my next activity here, a quick speed up question, yes or no, super simple. I'm gonna ask you 10 questions. You can say yes, no, or pass. Sounds
Okay.
good. All right, let's make this happen. So first question: have you ever almost said no to a life changing opportunity out of fear?
Yes.
Does fear still visit you even after major accomplishments?
Yes.
Have you ever regretted playing it too safe creatively?
Yes.
Do you believe fear and excitement can sometimes feel the same?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever doubted your own talent even at your highest moment?
Yes.
Does social media amplify your self doubt sometimes?
Yes.
Have you ever created something you were terrified to release?
Yes.
Do you think most artists are tougher on themselves than anyone else is?
Yeah.
Okay. Has taking a risk ever completely changed your creative path?
Yes.
And would you rather fail boldly than succeed safely?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. There you go. Cool. I like it.
That's
And huh?
that's a good one. I like that one. I'd rather just leave it all on the floor and know I tried my best and fail at the thing I love than like kind of succeed at something I hate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. That just doesn't seem like a good trade-off to me. But then again, I'm like, well, a pension and benefits would be nice. So, everything has its trade-off, but I just like, I don't know. I think just go for it.
And my last question here,
Okay.
so we can all enjoy and relax after an epic chat here. Super simple, and this is like the signature question. So, what do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
What I wrote down because I brainstormed was my best work is at my worst moments. I don't know. You got something? What do you think?
Yeah, I like that one. Sounds cool. Sounds
Katie
catchy.
Uhlmann, ultimate pessimist. Ah,
What
what do
about
you
fear, cows, and ice cream?
Fear, cows, and ice cream. I like that. Fear, death, and cows.
Fear, death, and cows.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. I like it. Sounds like a
All
plan.
right.
Sounds like a
Do
franchise.
I
Who
want you to be
knows?
happy too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already on my highest here. As I was saying before, it's like Christmas already here, and it's
Okay,
May.
good.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
I mean, at the end, what can I say, Katie? I mean, the fact that you're doing what makes you happy, that's super cool. It's incredible. We all know that focusing on something that you want to pursue, like your passion, sometimes can be a pain in the butt, but you're making it happen. You're showing out there. You're doing an amazing job there. I mean, I think at the end, the most cool thing is besides you creating cool stuff, you're also showing us that you can have fun and you can follow your passions. And I think that is a super powerful message that we should all follow, especially now in this era that suddenly we want to kill each other. So
Um,
when we can rely on people like you, I think that's definitely what can make the world a super badass place.
well,
So
thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, talking to artists and spreading positive messages and really supporting the community.
of course, always. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But also, as I was saying in the description below, you're gonna find all of Katie's social media. Let's follow her. Let's share some love, but also let's keep making her viral. Hashtag Team Katie. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep kicking ass. Keep doing what you do. You're doing an incredible, super badass job. And I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.